it is.
Basically, I put those banner ads up to maybe supplant the cost of a beer every now and then.
But first, let's do the numbers. Stocks closed mixed today. The Dow Industrials gave up 17 points, about 0.2%, finished at 10,526. The Nasdaq edged up 4 points, also about 0.2%, ended at 2289. The S&P 500 dipped, but less than a point, a fraction of a percent, closed at 1121. The commerce departments in U.S. retailers saw their best sales in 5 months in August. When you say back to school, discounter J.C. Penney rang up nearly 7.5%. Electronics, Neiman Best Buy powered up 6% today. Macy's put on nearly 3%. In earnings news, Kroger beat analyst expectations for the second quarter. The nation's largest grocery store chain said that's because it focused on customer service rather than cutting prices. Kroger shares loaded up 1%. Elsewhere, networking giant Cisco Systems announced it's planning to pay shareholders a dividend for the first time in its history, as in ever. Cisco stock rose 0.8%. You're listening to Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Ally Bank, committed to customer service with the option to reach a human being at any time at 877-24-7-ALLY by pressing 0. By CSX, whose trains move a ton of freight 500 miles on 1 gallon of fuel to help reduce fuel consumption. CSX, how tomorrow moves. And by Reputation Defender, helping doctors, lawyers, and small business owners monitor, protect, and improve their online reputations. ReputationDefender.com/market.
This is Marketplace from American Public Media. I'm Kai Ryssdal. For all the talk of job cuts and unemployment in Israel, we've got nothing on the layoffs announced in Havana, Cuba yesterday. His brother said he is going to cut 500,000 public sector jobs and make most of them private sector jobs. It's a pretty clear acknowledgement that Cuba is having some financial difficulties. It wasn't spared by the financial crisis, and it is still struggling to recover from hurricane damage 2 years ago. From WLRN in Miami, Kenny Malone reports.
Raul Castro has made some, quote, free market moves before, like turning vacant fields into private farms or letting barbers be their own bosses. But today's move would nearly double Cuba's private sector. That's real change, right?
We have to wait and see.
Andy Gomez is a senior fellow at the University of Miami's Cuba Institute. He says state workers make an average of $20 per month. If the government can't even afford to keep those employees on their payroll, this is an act of financial desperation.
In talking to some of the Cubans on the island, they're very concerned in terms of what the layoffs means and what they're going to do next.
Uva de Aragon helps run the Cuban Research Institute at Florida International University. She says Cuba isn't exactly fertile ground for small businesses. There's no credit available. Between income and Social Security, taxes could be as high as 30%.
For a population that's been used to working for the state and having free medical and free education, that's difficult to swallow.
But Philip Peters, a Cuba expert at the Lexington Institute in Virginia, welcomes the move. He says it could go as smoothly as the privatization of barbershops earlier this year.
Somebody's going to walk in there one day and say, gentlemen, this thing is now a cooperative. You're not going to get any more salary, but you're going to still work here. You're going to pay some tax, and you're going to keep the profits.
The 500,000 laid-off workers could have more competition soon. The Cuban government has indicated that deeper cuts may be on the way. From Miami, I'm Kenny Malone for Marketplace.
This final note today, one that pretty much writes itself, to be honest with you. The Corn Refiners Association has just about had it with the campaign against high fructose corn syrup and how, in some studies, it has been linked to obesity. People have started not buying products that have high fructose anything listed in the ingredients. So refiners would like to suggest a new name. Today they applied to the Food and Drug Administration to get corn sugar approved as an alternative. Word of the day, though, comes from Andre Erickson. She's the president of the Corn Refiners Association. High fructose corn syrup, she says, has been highly disparaged and highly misunderstood.